let's take a second and run through some movement stuff. So this is going to be something that you can do as a movement preparation prior to a workout. It can be used as an active recovery day, depending on the load, the speed, the intensities, and all the different things that you have available to you to vary and to manipulate the acute variables. This could be someone's actual workout, someone who just looking for something a little less, or just looking to actually have some movement. Now, I have to give special props to Michelle Dalcourt, who really has inspired a lot of these things, and also the GIFT program, the Gray Institute, who's allowed the kind of concept of the matrices, is three-dimensionalizing motions and putting them into kind of a sequential aspect. Now, they didn't develop 3 dimensions, but they certainly have allowed people to see how to put them into a matrix and create kind of an organized system to it. So let's go through some stuff that's more movement-based, and I hope you enjoy this. Practice it, use it, live it, love it, learn it, own it, make it yours, and most of all, make someone enjoy their workout and be successful at what they do. Let's do this. So we're taking a piece of typical equipment. We're just going to use it in a different fashion. And so I have a curl bar, standing it upright, have weight on one side. That's just to add more mass. That's going to generate more momentum that I then have to decelerate and accelerate with all the other forces of gravity, ground reaction, and whatnot. So make sure that you use this without weight before you start putting weight on it so you get a feel for what the bar does. Essentially what we want to do is dance. So we're going to do some dancing with this bar. Now what we can do is just get 2 hands. So we'll start with 2 hands, bilateral hands, and I'm going to stand behind it and I'm just going to go forward and back. So it's really going to be forward and back. All I'm doing is just creating some motion, length in the tissues, and I can vary it to different degrees if I'm looking at a clock. So I can go a little off center and a little off center. And so I'm using my hips, my shoulders, my thoracic spine, obviously my lower body, my ankles have to be involved, and in my neck. So I can change head positions, and that's going to affect my cervical spine as well as my thoracic spine, and on down through the chain. We can go to the side. So more frontal plane or lateral in motion, and then we can rotate. Rotate. Okay, bilateral hands. Now you can do this without hip motion, and you kind of isolate more of the trunk or the shoulder complex. And so sometimes that can be good for thoracic spine mobilization, but remember, go to the area that can be controlled or doesn't create a stress or strain to the client. So sometimes soft or subtle motions, and give thanks to Ian O'Dwyer, who does a lot of stuff with mobilization, soft, subtle motions that allow the tissue to move in the range that it has so we don't create tension through the rest of the body. Okay? So we can do it without hips, and then we can obviously bring in the hips and utilize that. And you'll notice as I use my hips, I'm also using my ankles. Okay? And rotation. Now we can do one arm. So standing in a still and neutral position, I can place this, and now I can go forward, and I can go back. So I hip extend, and then I hip flex. Okay? So I can move that. Now, if I leave my head still, the cool thing about this, if I leave my head still and I don't move it, as I flex forward with my trunk, I actually get cervical extension. As I extend back, I actually get cervical flexion. So you can get neck mobilization and neck stretching without even moving your head. Pretty cool. Okay? So this way. And I can go frontal plane. Again, speed of motion, range of motion, all dictated by your client. All right? Same thing. Whoops. Rotations. And so you can see as I start rotating and swinging this, if I have a long lever and a lot of mass at the top and I start throwing it, that's a lot of deceleration. So use minimal to no weight to start, to figure out how to do the dance steps, and then add weight to make it sing for you. Let's go the other side. So you can see as you start putting in more weight, and more speed, how that changes the mass and momentum and how that's going to affect the load distribution and how much you have to actually work to accelerate and decelerate that. So this can easily become a workout, as we typically term workouts, versus just loosening somebody up. Okay? Now that we've done that, we can start doing stepping. So I'm not going to run through all variations, but you can step with bilateral hands. You can step frontal plane. And you can obviously rotate. And you can rotate with different step, range of motion again. Okay? We can step into it, So those of you that have been through the GIFT program and you know in sync, out of sync, you can start applying all those concepts. If you haven't been to the GIFT program, check out grayinstitute.com. And a lot of these workouts we'll eventually have on PTA global.com as well. Okay? So we have that. Now we have one hand, so I can step forward, and I can step back. And I can step forward, and I can step back. So using opposite hand and leg to do that, or I can use same side. Okay? Same thing other way, same side. Or opposite side. Okay. So I can go across my body now, and then I can go away. Crossed and away. Okay? Just gave you a little hint on some things you can do. Okay? And then this way and this way. So putting it all together. Now you can also dance with it. So I can lean it down, come up and over, and over, and over. Okay? Or here, the backhand. Right? So you can do that sagittal plane, more lateral, any variation, and in rotation. So just take some of that, play with it, realize that it's infinite, and I hope it opens up your eyes to see things in a new way, so you can still use the same equipment, just in a little different fashion. The cool thing about this is that pretty soon with Show Dalcourt's new tool is going to come out, and we don't have to worry about all these things. We can do it in a whole nother level. You guys have a great day. I love doing this. I hope it helps you out. Bye-bye.